today on the channel we're going to talk about furnaces. Now this is something, especially this time of year, that it seems like 90% of the work that we do is furnace related. Whether you've got a furnace that just blows cold air, never gets warm, doesn't run at all, or certain situations. So I'm going to go through today and just show you kind of the basic things with a furnace, and common symptoms that we see here at Peak Outdoors to help you to bring a little heat back into your trailer in these colder months. So anyways, to get started, this furnace came in. The complaint was it wasn't working. Now that doesn't tell me a whole lot, but once I get it on the bench, can get power to it and everything, then I can go through and diagnose it. Most of my customers can come in and they can tell me kind of what it's doing, and I can point them in the right direction, or it's a simple fix for me. But anyways, we'll go ahead, get some power to this, fire it up, or attempt to fire it up and see if we can't diagnose what's going on with it. Alright, so I've got my power hooked up to it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump my thermostat wire, so it's telling that furnace, hey, we're calling for temperature, that circuit's complete. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do, I've got my propane on, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Now most furnaces all have an on-off switch, a reset or an off switch. Some of them will kill power completely, some of them are in the thermostat line, and so if you turn it off, the fan might still continue to blow until it's completed that cycle. On this particular furnace, this is a Dometic furnace, it will run, this one is cut into the power, so I can turn it on and off. Here on my bench test, I've actually got a switch up here that I can turn power on and off, and it's a little quicker for me to diagnose when, you know, I don't have to wait for it to complete a cycle. I can just turn the power off, turn it back on. So anyways, we're going to go ahead, turn this furnace on, see what happens. So as you can hear, the fan's running. That tells me that, you know, the power's good. I'm getting power to it. The motor's good. It's blowing. And what it'll do is there's a safety feature. So this will blow for about 30 seconds, clear out the combustion chamber. And then once it's done that, it'll say, okay, we'll go ahead. We can open the gas valve and go ahead and try and light. This one, it just ran, completed, didn't try and light. There was no clicking or anything that you could hear, just shut off. So this would be considered, what it's gone through is it's gone through that safety cycle. Okay, what it'll do is it'll send power, and some of them are a little different. This one will send it to the limit switch first, which is a temperature sensor, and then it'll send it back to the circuit board saying, yeah, we're cool enough, go ahead and turn power. Power will come on to the motor, it'll start to blow, and then once it gets to that point, once the fan starts to blow, there's a little switch. This is called a cell switch. When it flips, when that fan's blowing, it'll flip that and it'll complete the circuit there, sending power back to the circuit board saying, hey, we know that the fan's blowing, we're all right, that combustion chamber's clear. But what'll happen, I see this especially in trailers that have been smoked in a lot or have pets, or just a lot of trailers in general. They'll get dirty and this switch will stick, and it'll either stick open or closed. And so what'll happen is that fan will blow, but this never moves, and so the signal never gets completed. And so that circuit board says it's basically telling the fan or the circuit board that the fan's not blowing. And so it's not going to complete that cycle. It's not going to open that gas valve. And it's basically going to run for that 30 seconds and then it's going to shut off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to replace the cell switch. The cell switch on different furnaces is going to be in different locations. The majority of your older furnaces are going to be on this blower housing here. Some of these newer models, the cell switch is actually going to be on this blower wheel inside here if I pull this off. So it sits right here on this one. Also, the majority of your older furnaces, your limit switch is going to be on the back here. In this particular furnace, it sits on inside here. So a little bit different setups in the different furnaces, but overall the same concept. So I'm going to go ahead, change out this cell switch and see what happens. All right, so I'm just plugging this cell switch back in. As you can see, it's fairly easy to access. This particular furnace was mounted inside the trailer, so no out access on the outside. A lot of them will have a door on the outside that you can open up and access all of this. So those ones are extremely convenient as far as getting to stuff and not having to pull the furnace out. But anyways, I've gone ahead, I've hooked this new cell switch up. So I'm going to turn my power back on, turn my gas back on, and see what happens. All right, we're all hooked back up. So I'm going to go ahead and put this. One thing that I should add too, on these new furnaces especially, I find that if you're going to draw your intake air back in from your exhaust, that they don't run especially well. I mean, you might get bursts of heat for a minute. But what's happening is your exhaust comes out, but your intake is also right here. And so it'll draw that back in, and there's no oxygen for that flame to burn. So always when I'm testing them, I'll keep this cover on and put my baffle in. Just line it up. And it doesn't have to be all the way in, like I say, just to keep that oxygen from being starved by that exhaust. So let's go ahead and start it and see what happens. So the blower's kicked on. It's going to run for a little bit, and then you'll hear it try and ignite. So there you have it. That was our issue. Simple fix, relatively cheap. Cell switches range anywhere from 6 to 15 bucks kind of thing. Same with your limit switch, they're fairly cheap. Really the only other thing that we spend a lot of time with, we change quite a few circuit boards and every now and again a motor. But other than that, cell switches, limit switches seem to be the most common thing that we replace. So hopefully this helps you diagnose your furnace. If you have any questions or anything, leave them in the comments below, and we'll try and do other videos related to this to help you diagnose your furnaces and, like I said, get your trailer heated up or your motorhome heated up. So anyways, thanks for watching.